Yeah.
Right, what's going on, guys? We should be live now. Let me just double check. Yes, everything is sweet. What's going on, people? What's going on? We're back with the Premier League Weekly. We've got a few guys coming in. Andy's just sent me a message, and Drew just sent me a message of running slightly late. How you getting on, Tony, man? What's going on, bro?
Yeah, man. You know, I missed it out for the last couple of weeks, man. Went to see the kids for the last couple of Fridays, you know. But we had the international break, so it wasn't so much of a big deal last week, I guess.
Me myself, I kind of took a break, man. It was just like, bro, man, I just need need to get a break. And I was under the weather with the flu, so it was all mashed up. And I looked at it. I think I actually shot a video one day, and then I looked at my face while I was shooting the video, and blocked up nose, headaches, sore throat. I just looked mashed up. I looked like death woke up. So I said, there's no way I can upload this video. I'm just taking the rest of the week off.
Yeah.
Bertram, how you getting on, man? How's New York?
Things going good. I didn't tell him. Things are going well. Things are going well. Man. I mean, the virus has not as devastating for New York as it is for the rest of the country, but we're seeing increased infection rates. So, and I actually think that the numbers are really understated throughout the world, actually, throughout the globe. Because I remember when I first got the virus back in April, and they were quoting numbers, I'm like, first of all, they weren't testing you, and then they were telling you they would only test you if you were going to be admitted to the hospital. So a lot of people weren't getting tested. And all those people who recovered, obviously, a lot of them recovered. So the numbers are understated, but it's really bad now in the States. I think there's 90,000 people in hospitals across the country.
Yeah, our hospital started filling up just before we went into lockdown again, but now it's kind of manageable.
Yeah, no, it's not the best situation, but hopefully the vaccine... Hopefully we can get the vaccine soon and we can move on, actually, as a society and as a world.
Yeah, excellent, good. Yeah, you know what? It's nice to see. I think the last 3 days, normally I'm tuning into MSNBC, CNN. I watch a little bit of Fox News just because sometimes it's good to hear what the noise is on the other side. I can't take too much of it because it is absolutely unwatchable at times, and it depends who you're watching. You know, I like watching Chris Wallace. I like Shep Smith. He's moved to CNBC, which is pretty good now. So I try to listen to Euronews. What is it? Is it Al Aziz or something like that?
Oh, Al Aziz, yeah.
So I try to get as much coverage as possible rather than sticking to the norms. Just to get a good feedback, because you know some stations, they've got their own narrative, so you have to accept that. So I try to kind of span myself around the world, and it's just nice to hear no noise, like no, everything it's like normal. What's going on?
So I'm not sure the news media realize this, is that their money tree won't be around anymore.
No.
Yeah,
like people don't seem to realize this. So what it's very contradictory, right? Which is the person who created all this chaos, right? Which everybody has an affront to. They're very concerned about. They're vehement about how much they protest against, I'm going to say, this person. Yeah. So now the person is now moving on, and things become the normal. Normality is not good for news.
No.
News
stations.
Need
something. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they need disruption. They need anarchy. They need chaos be able for us to watch. And he was the most talked about man probably in history, frankly. Think about the world's population. Maybe in Hitler's days, Hitler was a prominent person. Bad people get a lot of news. But if you think about it, he was in the news, they CNN every single day for his entire, from 2015 when he got the nomination through now, the most talked about person maybe in the history of mankind, frankly.
Yeah.
I mean, what's funny is like they've lost, and he's obviously come out and said, A, he's going to hand over to Biden, and B, today he came out and say, look, if the electors say that we've lost, then we've lost. Yeah, so, you know, so it's kind of over. We knew that already. But what is stunning that you see Hayley McAlady still going up on the podium and still spilling all this stuff. And it's just like, girl, you're still lying. Even now, even now, it's all over. You're still, I just don't get it.
Yeah, but now there's Apollo, there's always a strategy behind the noise. The strategy is to keep my base in tune. The strategy is to keep my base involved, energize my base on a continuous basis.
That's right,
and if I say I accept the losses, I turn it over, I go away, then it's back to normal. You don't want that. You want your base to be continually involved, at least through this January 5th, and even subsequently.
Because you know, if they want to keep the people, you know, what the misinformation and all of that, you have to keep that going. Otherwise, you look bad, don't you? You look like a fraud. You look like a liar. You look like a con man. We know that they are, but their base believes something completely different. So you have to keep that riding on. And obviously, they're talking about now Trump's children running in 4 years' time. And all this stuff, and the whole thing is just
running from whom? Who they're running from?
Running for office. They're saying that, you know, Trump.
They're running from something because I'm not sure where they're going to win anything. First of all, they want to reside in the Northeast. There's no New Jersey. There is no Connecticut. There is no New York going to vote for these individuals. Now they can go to Staten Island to run for House, which is a very Republican environment, but it's not. It's not happening. It's not happening. Yeah. And those kids want to enjoy their lives. They don't want the pressure of what their dads bring to them because they don't want.
Yeah, maybe Ivanka, but not Eric, man. I mean,
and the younger ones can't be interested in that. The older daughter looks like she might want to get involved, but the others,
So, guys, let's focus on the games. I know Andy. Let me just see. Andy sent me a message. I just see. Just send him a message. He just sent me a message as well. So, guys, let's kick off and fly through this. We got the Dega games. Actually, it didn't turn out too Dega because one of you guys actually said, was it you, Bertrand, that's when I said Crystal Palace is an easy win over Burnley? One of you, it might have been you or Andy, just said, hold on, Apollo. Burnley might take this one. And guess what? They did.
No, I think it was Andy. It wasn't me.
Yeah, I was, and you know what? It's a shock win. I wasn't expecting that, and it's their first win of the season.
You know why, right?
Well, your guy Zaha. You know, I say to you, he only turns up when he wants to.
You know, that's why. Hey, they can't play without Zaha. They cannot play without Zaha. It's like Villa without Grealish. Doesn't work.
Yeah. And speaking of Villa's down there losing to the team that we lost twice to. Don't discount Brighton. And we talked about this yesterday, funny enough, on the stream, me and you, Bertram. It was Welbeck that got a winner for them as well.
We've got them 12:30 tomorrow, I believe.
Brighton.
Is it Brighton we've got?
That's not an easy game, bro.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
they're a pretty fearless team, actually. They're a fearless team. They play football.
Yeah, that's good for us.
And look, Lallana and Welbeck are playing well, so they do have some good players.
Yeah, they've got a few good players, and as you said, they like to play football, so they'll be open. So I think we should.
So you'll win because they'll be open.
We should win.
Unless they treat you like Atalanta did, then that's a different story.
That's that. We had a second string team out there, man.
I know.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
So, guys, let's just move on to if you guys want to comment on any of those games, and we can move on to Man United West Brom.
Let me see. Obviously, I won there last week. Burnley, Crystal Palace. Yeah. For me, that could have been a toss-up. Wouldn't surprise me who wins out of them two. Southampton. I tell you, Southampton surprised a lot of people.
Yeah, Walcott, man.
Theo's got a new lease of life. He's got freedom. He looks really happy. They're decent side, Southampton. They're really, really decent. I must admit, they've been the surprise so far.
And I think the question has always been, what are you going to do without Danny Ings? Danny Ings is not there. He's injured up to the Christmas period, and so you're going to need someone to take over. And look, the thing about Theo's goals to game ratio is ridiculous. He scores. People are saying what happened at Everton, system change, new manager, so he didn't make the cut. He weren't playing as well. What happened at Arsenal? System change again. When Wenger switched to three at the back, he needed wing backs, not a winger. So it was Oxlade-Chamberlain that was getting a nod. Theo was surplus to requirements. So it's one of those things. And I say this to Bertram every week. Bertram is fed up of me saying to this. We can't rate players if they're sitting on the bench. Yeah, you have to be on the pitch in order for you to be productive. And I think that's what's frustrating when you see players who are playing week in, week out. For Arsenal, it's Willian, Aubameyang, etc., and they're not doing anything. And then you've got these guys on the bench who can help, and they're not getting on the field. It's very frustrating. Theo is a guy who, if you play him, you're gonna get results because You speak to a defender that has to defend against Walcott, and they will tell you how difficult it is. The best defenders will say to you, I don't like that guy because he'll get behind me and I can't keep up. And, it is what it is. You play. He could have got the winner as well. Bertrand, remember? Walcott could have got the winner as well.
Yeah, I don't think Thierry's playing that. I think he's playing with a lot of freedom, but his game is not where it used to be, actually. Because I watch him play, I'm thinking, he's playing a lot of freedom. He doesn't feel the pressure of I'm going to get substituted. The manager trusts him, and he's taking more risk, but he's still not playing as well as he can play. Sometimes you get too much freedom and you don't know what to do with it. But look, isn't that because he doesn't have the pressure of playing for a big team, though? Well, that too. I mean, they're treating him that way. Yeah, he's giving instructions on the field. He's a leader on the field, so he feels comfortable.
And plus, he hasn't had a lot of game time, so I think give him a few more games, and he might get into it. But
Theo is the most substituted player in the history of the Premier League.
Yeah,
that's an interesting stat against your name.
Well, you love a stat, don't you?
I think if you're one of those players where your speed is your greatest asset, you kind of burn out pretty quicker than most, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. Andy, how are you? First of all, how's your week going, mate?
Yeah, good. Yeah, it's been a good week. I've had a bit of a mad dash around tonight, but yeah.
Yeah, it is like that. I mean, I've got a lot of work going on the weekends at my house, so it gets kind of hectic at the moment. And
apologies for being a bit late.
No, that's all right. That's all right, mate. And let's say hello to the guys in the chat as well. What's going on, Cool K? What's going on, Lundberg Camp? Yeah, Balagun, man. Listen, you called it, bro. A couple of weeks ago, you were saying the man, if he plays, he scores, and he did. Sentiment saying Palace lose again. Zaha on quarantine. Yeah, I know. And that's the thing. Look, me and Bertrand will pick that up every single week. Andrew, what's going on? Yeah, the panel is sparse. Got a few busy guys. Ian has got this new gig, as I said to you. He works part-time as well. He's an actor, and he's got a contract now for a couple of weeks, so we won't see him probably up to Christmas. Drew has just got engaged, so he's got to put some hubby time in on a Friday night, which is difficult. Cass Man United. He's a young guy, so he like to rave and everything. So that's why sometimes when you guys see him on the show, it's in his car, he's on his way to a team. And then we talk to him while he's on a mobile phone in the car. And a couple of guys can't make it. Luke, his connection is just really bad. And obviously we had Jamie from Leicester City. He's actually in Spain. So he's an hour ahead, and it's very difficult there when you've got the bar running at that time. So Riley, what's going on with you, Riley? What's going on, mate? And Riley's saying, are you happy that we will have fans in the stadium from December? I am. But as I said, I think that creates complications, not so much for Liverpool, but for Spurs and Arsenal, most definitely, because in London, I'm not sure whether you guys are aware, having 2,000 fans in the stadium doesn't make it profitable because you have to have security. You've got to have the green team, the security guys in the shirts who are telling the fans where they can go and where they can't go. You have to have police outside the stadium. By the time you've paid for all of that, 2,000 fans is not enough to recover it. Arsenal make $3.5 million at the gate in every game. I doubt they'll even make.
I think I think
100 grand.
I know
it's not good. It's great for the fans, but it's a logistical nightmare for the teams. Andy, before we move on, did you want to have anything
just one
to say
quick one
about
on
those
that,
games?
Apollo?
You called the Burnley game last week, by the way. You got that one right.
I just felt that Burnley were ready
to. You're on mute.
I'm on mute.
I can hear you.
Oh, I think we've lost Andy.
Yeah, I can hear you. I think Apollo is.
Can you guys actually hear me?
Yeah,
I can hear you, but you can't hear us.
I can hear you and I can hear Andy. Yes.
So I was trying to say something, but you.
Oh, it's me. All right, it's me. Yeah, carry on, Andy. I'll fix my mic. Carry on.
I felt that Burnley were ready to turn a corner. I mean, they might have a setback tomorrow because they're away at City, but I think Burnley have got enough in that squad with Dyche as manager, I think, to get themselves out of trouble. And also I also said I fancied Brighton at Villa as well. So I think I got 7 out of 10 this week. But I didn't get. I think the ones I didn't get were. I thought Leeds would beat Arsenal, and it was a draw, but that could have happened quite easily. I thought Wolves would beat Southampton, but again that was a draw. And I thought what was the one I got completely wrong? I can't remember now. But anyway, I got one of them wrong, but I got about 7 of them right this week. So.
That's what happened when your team is leading the league. You get everything right.
You get confident. You get confident, don't you?
I'm gonna pick that up with him.
Don't you?
I'm gonna pick that up with in a minute. Riley's saying 2,000 or 50%. No, it's 2,000. It's up. The government said up to 4,000.
It's the lower of the two.
Yeah,
which
so
means
the government said up to 4,000.
It's basically be 2,000.
Yeah.
You know, for me, right, that would have made, I don't know, it would have made a bit more sense. I think they should have just done it a percentage of your what crowd you can get in the ground. I reckon they should have done it a percentage wise, because if you got a 70, if you like Manchester United and you got 70,000 seat stadium and you got 2,000 people in there, what's that?
Well, I can tell you guys something. You guys know I'm a big Skins fan, and yes, I was up last night until all hours of watching the Thanksgiving game. It was brilliant. But did you see the crowd capacity in Texas Stadium?
Yeah, massive.
My wife looked at me and was like, Apollo, did you say that you weren't allowed at the Emirates? And I was like, I don't know.
That 30,000 in there.
What was that? I couldn't believe it.
Well, I mean, guys, let's not be surprised. That's why we have the situation we have in the U.S., whereby the southern states and the Midwest believe there's probably no virus, even though their hospitals are fully out. That wouldn't happen in the Northeast. That wouldn't happen in New York. It wouldn't happen in D.C. It wouldn't happen in Connecticut.
Yeah, I mean, in DC, we don't have any
irresponsible, frankly.
Yeah, we don't have any fans, and that's probably because we're shit. But we've not had any fans at all. What's the situation in New York where you are, Bertrand, with the Giants?
No, you're not. We're not doing that in New York. Nobody would be going to a football game with half the capacity being filled up in a coronavirus-dominated environment. It makes no sense. It's illogical. Yeah. I'm a little surprised the government in the UK is taking the pressure and having fans in. If the vaccine is so close, why not exercise some patience for a few more months versus doing something which may spread the virus more? Doesn't make sense. So if you go to the game with 2,000 fans, won't fans actually be outside the stadium more when they feel an inclination to be outside the stadium and congregate?
Yeah, and then what you have to remember on game day is before the game, obviously in the States you call it tailgating, we go to the pub and the pubs are packed. It's a logistical nightmare, and it's an accident waiting to happen. Cool Case saying, Andy, what's the lottery numbers? All right, so guys, Andy, before we let's do Andy first. Let's go. Where's Liverpool? No, it's not Liverpool. It's Spurs. Let's do Andy first.
You've got Chelsea there.
Yeah, let's do Andy Spurs. All right, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because what did I say to you last week? I said with Chelsea and Spurs, we are going to know now whether they are serious contenders, whether they'll be able to get past these games. And both of them passed the test. So right now, as you alluded to, Mourinho's been there a year. We've been giving him so much stick. Everybody has. And look where he is, on top of the flipping league. Andy, fire away.
Well, I mean, as you know, I said last week that I expected Spurs to win, but it was one of those games where it wouldn't have shocked you if City won. Now, City dominated possession as I expected, but they didn't really do an awful lot with it. And we sat there and we waited and we hit them on the break. And that is what what? Mate, I can't be doing with this stupidity.
What happened?
Nah, my phone.
Oh, I think we've lost him for a bit.
Yeah, I think we lost him.
His phone might have run out of battery.
I think he needs to charge it.
So, Bertram, the reason why I'm coming to you on this, because last week when Andy talked about getting the 3 points, the first thing, so let me just take Andy out of the studio first and wait until he fixes up, and then I'll bring him back in. Bertram, you were the one that raised the point to say City can't score.
They didn't have Aguero, and Jesus is just coming back, and Sterling has been somewhat injured, and Mahrez has been away. So they're not their usual prolific selves in creating chances. They're not even creating the chances. There's one thing to score, but against Spurs, as Andy said, they really dominated possession. I mean, it was another Inter Milan performance that you see Jose put together against Barcelona, whereby he just sat back, soaked up the pressure, and they have brilliant forwards who hit them on the break. I'm a little bit surprised, though, how much City dominate possession. That's why I'm not as convinced about Spurs as it probably should be, because City should have done. If Spurs then start going out and playing, the question is, will they be vulnerable at the back? You know, you have two very good center midfielders in Sissoko and Højbjerg, who really are athletic and can clog up that middle, which they did really well. So the question is going to be going forward, what happened?
I'm just about to answer your question. So Man City had 66 possession to Spurs 34. Man City had 22 shots, 5 on target. Spurs had just 4 with 2 on target.
That's why I said about Spurs, which is I'm not totally convinced yet, because 66 possession is a lot, actually. 60% is a lot of possession for a team to have. Now, granted, they have 5 shots on target, apart from the one that hit Jesus, which is going to go into the goal, where he's in offside position. They didn't look as threatening as you think they would be with 66% possession. That's why Aguero is an imperative for them.
But how can we say they didn't look as threatening when City had 22 shots and Spurs had 4?
Yeah, well, did we look at
City had 10 corners.
We dominated Man U. No, but we dominated Man U. Did we look threatening?
Dangerous.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on. Say that.
So we dominated Man U, right?
Yeah.
How many chances did we create against Man U?
Well, we didn't have 22 shots,
concept.
that's for sure.
Same situation.
We didn't have 22 shots, that's for sure.
Yeah, but only 5 on target. That means they were wayward shots, right? If there was only 5 on target and you had 22, then your ratio is about 20%. That's not great. Just about 20%.
Wow.
That's not great.
Andy, sorry, back to you. I think your phone battery must have run out.
My phone shut down. I forgot I didn't have the charger in. Sorry.
No problem. So finish off on that one, Andy. I was just saying to them that Bertram, when you talked about this last week, Bertram actually said to you, City can't score, just like Arsenal. And both City and Arsenal blanked this weekend, so they gave you exactly what it says on the tin: no goals.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, the game kind of went how if you'd have gone with the form, the game went to form. But current form, anyway. But I still believe that City are going to be a force this season. I think that they're just beginning to find their feet. And we all know that they are capable of going on an 8-10 game-winning run. They can do it. They can bring themselves back into the frame. They were decent at Tottenham, but they've been a bit toothless without Aguero. Yeah. But Aguero is coming back now, and I think when he gets up to speed and up firing again, then you'll see that City will have someone to finish off their moves. I think we were lucky.
Yeah.
I think we were lucky to get them last weekend before they've really hit top gear. I think they are beginning to get themselves where they want. They're now looking good again in play. But they just need that sharpness in and around the box. And I think it's coming. And I'm glad we've got that game out of the way now, because other people, I think, are going to get a tougher City.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm not sure Guardiola knows his best team, actually, which is interesting. I think he keeps... that's a problem for him.
How can
not at the moment? I think you're right.
At this point?
Look, I think the problem is... I think the problem was with Guardiola. He hasn't had all of his top players all fit at the same time.
Exactly.
To have his best team. But I think with Man City, they Spurs are perfect. I think there's perfect team for Spurs to play, because you know what you're going to get from City: pass, miss pass on the break, Son, Kane, bang. And when they play Chelsea, it might be the same way because they got fast players. So with Man City, you kind of know what you're going to get. If you can hold out, you know you're going to have a few chances. If you've got fast people, if you've got people up front who can move the ball quickly, you know you're going to get chances with Man City. And all the games that they seem to lose, you will see them have loads of possession, and it's all and the other team have about 4 or 5 shots and they score about 2 of them. because you know what you're going to get from City. There's no
clinical.
There's no surprises with Man City. There isn't any. You just know what you're going to get.
My take on this was on my panel every week. I've been saying, and I've been watching Man City since Arteta left, and I've been listening to Pep Guardiola's conferences when they've said to him, what has Arteta taken from you? And Pep said, what makes you think we didn't learn from Arteta? And then if you go back and watch the Amazon Prime Manchester City series, and you listen to De Bruyne and Sterling and Sane, and you listen to what their players are saying and who has helped them the most, they said Arteta. And look how they have performed since Arteta has left the club. And that's one thing I think that nobody's really talking about. And it is so important to the aspect of their training.
It was mentioned last season. A few people brought it up last season. But I still think Guardiola was playing his brand of football before Arteta was on the scene. So I think maybe it suits Guardiola to just take the pressure off a little bit by sort of giving Arteta a bit of praise.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to remember at that point they weren't winning. That's when we knocked them out of the semi-final FA Cup. Bertrand.
And to be fair with Man City, the personnel has changed, because I looked at their first 11, and if you took their first 11 about 3 or 4 years ago, 6 or 7 of these players they got now wouldn't get into it. They wouldn't get to that team. So he's got some rebuilding to do as well. I think they're still going to be strong. Don't get me wrong. But it's got a little bit more rebuilding.
They didn't remember Aguero and Sterling didn't start last week at Spurs, or Fernandinho, and I think those massive. 3 are huge misses for City when those 3 don't play. And I think
Marina talked about the starting Sterling. Marina talked about the starting Sterling by complaining.
Yeah, well, I think in one way though he got one. I think Guardiola left Sterling out because he didn't want Mourinho to turn around and say he played him. I think he left him on the bench to say, he wasn't fully fit. But in one way, that played into Mourinho's hands by not having Sterling in the team.
Play your best players, mate. Forget
that's
that,
Marino. That's Marino playing his mind games as usual.
Play your best players, mate.
It's mind games. Yeah.
So before we move on to Man United, Andy, how far can Mourinho really take these guys? You all believe in him because he's got a background of winning trophies.
I think it was very interesting. You saw the team we put out last night against Ludo Goretz. We made 10 changes, and Ndombele was the only player that started last night, that started Sunday. And the team we had out last night had Bale, Winks, Ali, and Ndombele. Vinicius scored twice. Mora. At the back, we had Davis and Joe Hart in goal.
Doherty played.
Yeah, Doherty played. I mean, we had a really strong team out last night, and yet it was our reserve team. And all the players basically were rested fresh for Sunday. It's like he wants everyone at it. He didn't bring Kane on. He didn't bring Son on. He's kept them back so that they're hungry for Sunday. We haven't been able to do that ever before. To basically be able to leave all your first choice players out for a Europa League game or a cup game or something. We haven't been able to do that before, and now we can, and it makes a difference.
I think you have the second best squad in the league actually after City, when City get all their players back. Yeah. But I saw the team yesterday. You talked about 10 players, and these are very good players in the second 11.
Yes. They're international.
Very good players. Yes, very good players in second 11.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that I believe we are going to be in contention this season. Whether we're going to go all the way and win it, that's a big ask. We haven't done it for 60 years. So the guys don't know. It's going to be, if we're still there March, April time, that's going to be where you're going to see, have they got the mentality to get over the line? Because City have been there before, Liverpool have been there before, even Chelsea have been there before.
Yeah,
so there's lots of things.
The thing that concerns me is, having watched Spurs for many years, especially over the last few years, there's something that you always seem to carry, and that's injuries to Kane and injuries to Son.
You guys are missing the big picture, actually. Guys, he has built a squad where everybody's replaceable, even Kane. Vinicius, we could use Vinicius at Arsenal, frankly, as a center forward. He's a complete center forward. So what he has done is built a team, a holistic team to say if Kane gets knocked out, if Son gets knocked out, I have built replacement. Vinicius, he has replacement everywhere.
But the replacements, if you lose Kane and Son, or even Kane or Son, they are big misses. The replacements are not the equivalent. They're much closer to being good replacements than we've had in the past.
Before. Absolutely.
We're still strong.
You don't think Bale can play Son?
Not as good.
Really? Bale and Son? Bale is fit. A fit Bale, bubbling Bale, who is we know hasn't played in a couple of years, but still can't replace Son? Come on.
No, we can't. What I'm saying is we can better than we have been in the past, but they're still not the same level. What we've got to replace Son with or Kane with is not of the same level as Son and Kane. They're very, very good, and they'll probably be good enough to beat most Premiership sides. But if we had to have a sustained period without Kane and Son, it would still affect us again.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Mourinho built the team. I think he built the team with that in mind, which is Tottenham has fallen apart when Kane has dropped out and/or another very important player. What he's basically done is look at Lo Celso or Lamela or Moura. They're good players.
They are. But I thought it was interesting last night that he played Ndombele because he was the only one that started again, which makes me think that there's a good chance that Lo Celso will come in for Ndombele on Sunday, because I would have thought that he would have played last night if he wouldn't have played Ndombele last night from the start. Well, they did bring him off after an hour, but I still think that maybe there's a chance that Lo Celso will start at Chelsea on Sunday, but we'll see.
So, guys, let's move on to Man United, guys. Let's move on to Man United and West Brom. As you can see, I went for 2-1 and it was 1-0. It was a penalty. And we're all smiling because we all know what I'm going to say now. This Bruno Fernandez, half of his goals have been... He scored 14 goals for the club.
It was a twice-taken penalty. He missed the first.
That's twice,
he missed the first one.
That's twice he's done that.
He's half of his goals. This guy's the new Alan Shearer. Half of his goals has come from penalties. And guys, this was the first time Man United won from home at home in 6 games. Their first win at home of the season. Tony, what's your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, Man U a conundrum. You know, in Europe they're very good, and in the league they seem to be struggling. Again, he doesn't know his best 11. The players who he's got, they're not playing up to scratch either, and I'm struggling to see the system. So I think he's got a lot of work to do. Every time I watch Man U, I struggle to see what they're trying to achieve. I struggle, and with that, and they get into the box often because Bruno Fernandez will have so many penalties. But still, I struggle to see any cohesion, in bits and spurts, to see bits and pieces. But if you tell me who their first 11 would be every week, I couldn't tell you. I don't even know if he picks the same 11 every week. I doubt it.
Yeah, I think for me, the issue is as you can see, Cool Case called them Penchester United, and sentiments are saying Fernandez 22 goals from 16 penalties, and he's world class. What a laugh! I totally agree.
The world class penalty taker.
The thing is about it is, how can Man United continually benefit from VAR in this way? I mean, West Brom get about the cleanest penalty that you've seen all season, and it's not given. I don't have the answers to it. Look, Bertram's smiling, Andy's smiling. There's something wrong at that place. And, look, Alex Ferguson, I can't say the ghost of Alex Ferguson because he ain't dead yet. Yeah. But all I can say is his spirit is so strong in that place that it's just affected every referee that comes into there. And I don't know, maybe these referees are United fans. I don't know. And it's not even the referees half of the time. It's the people in the booth.
It's got VAR,
I just don't get it.
Well, it's a tough one because there's no crowd there to pressure the referees, right? Referees succumb to crowds. There's no crowd to pressure them. I'm not going to complain because we went there and got a penalty. That's how we won. So we're one of the fortunate ones. But they've got a lot of penalties this season and last season, by the way, not just this season.
Oh, my God. Andy, here's one for Andy. Cool K says, 44 penalties in their last 127 games.
Wow.
What
They're getting
the
in the
hell?
box. They're getting in the box.
They're getting in the box, man. That's the whole thing.
I've got to get my calculator out. What is that? Is that
1 in 3? 1 in
Anyway, better than 1 in 3.
34%? 33%?
Yeah. 1 in 3, yeah.
34%. That's ridiculous.
They're getting in the box. They're getting in the box, man. If you
United have a 34% chance of getting a penalty every time they play. That is ridiculous.
Yeah. You can't get a penalty in the halfway line, man.
Exactly. That's why Arsenal don't get penalties, because we don't play in the box. We're never in the box.
I mean, let's not forget the majority of penalties are stopping what could be goal scoring opportunities. So the fact that they're there means that they're in the area to get a penalty in the first place.
Absolutely.
So
and they do have the players, right? Between Marshall and Rashford, who are skillful players, we're going to create situations.
Get fouled.
Yeah.
But I mean, guys, it's just having a penalty is one thing. But one of the guys just put the comment on. You giving Man United a penalty, they miss it, and you let them retake it.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, you can't make this stuff up. Someone's going to write a book about this. Bruce Smith, if you're listening, he's a writer for the Utah Jazz, who I know, he lives in St. Albans, is a sports writer. Bruce, if you're listening, write a book about Man United and penalties, please. I'd love for you to publish that one, and I hope your wife and everybody and the kids are okay.
I must admit, though, that the goalkeeper did kind of leap about 2 yards. He did kind of leap.
I mean, it happens quite a lot. I'm shocked it's not called enough, to be honest. Jumping off the line.
It was a correct decision, and United did get the retake, and they scored the retake, which is fair enough. What's wrong is the fact that West Brom didn't get the penalty that they should have had.
That's the thing.
That's where there's an inconsistency. I don't have a problem with United getting penalties if they're genuine.
Yeah.
The problem is, why aren't they getting? They don't seem to get a proportionate amount of penalties against them as well, and that's where there has to be an issue with VAR or the way the games are being officiated. Is that they don't seem to get as many penalties given against them when the video replays show that probably they should have.
Yeah.
So, guys, we're moving on to Fulham, and we don't normally cover Fulham. Fulham's normally in the tiny game section, but because Everton,
it was a really good game.
Yeah, and really Everton had lost 3 in a row. So, look, Bertram's smiling again. Bertram, did you see this one? Calvin Lewin, your boy.
I didn't see it.
Calvin
Lewin, your boy.
Well, Calvin Lewin is playing really well. I didn't really rate Calvin, say 2 years ago, Frank. I thought he was like the kid from Bournemouth, who went from Liverpool to Bournemouth. I just didn't see him evolving into the striker, but he's physical. He's great in the air. He holds the ball up well. Not as skillful as you like a forward to be, but he's like an old-time center forward, right? He's playing really well, and he's putting the ball where we don't. We could use Calvin. In fact, we could use anybody, but we could use Calvin Lewin in our team because
you said that about every striker tonight.
He's nicking everyone's striker.
Tony, the thing that stands out to me, Tony, is Everton have conceded 2 or more goals in 6 consecutive games. They got a problem at the back, and that counted for the 3 losses they had. But it doesn't seem anything. It's funny, isn't it? Ancelotti, I measure him against Arteta because they both started in the same week with their new teams. They both spent comparatively the same amount of money. One team is on offensive firepower and Dyer in defense, and the other team is really good in defense and Dyer at the front end. At some point, these teams are gonna come to a clash. But Everton have got to. They're about as leaky at the back as anything. They've spent money everywhere.
Yeah.
It's at the back.
Yeah, I'm surprised because they started off with a house on fire, and over the last few games, for some reason, they just lost their way. I know they had a few injuries.
Richarlison sending off.
Yeah,
when they lost Richarlison 3 games
against us,
fell apart. They haven't won a Premier League game without Richarlison in it. He came back and was brilliant again. Yeah. And he makes a huge difference to that team. Absolutely. He really does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hernandez came back as well, didn't he? Because he was out for a couple of games. But
Rodriguez, you mean?
Rodriguez, sorry.
Yeah.
and they're always going to bounce back. And I think Fulham was a good game for them to bounce back because Fulham play open football. Fulham,
well, I mean, there are a couple of things. One is they're thin on the bench, and the center of their defense between Mina and Keane, and it's just they're just not good in the middle of the defense. I don't think it's their defense. I think it's the center of the defense. Because I think Allen in the middle is very good, in mopping things up. They're just poor in the center of the defense.
Hey, Bertram, you know who had a good game?
Oh.
You're Nigerian.
He will be.
Yeah, you're Nigerian nightmare.
No, he also can play football. He's like Welbeck. He just doesn't know where the goal is. When he gets in front of the goal, he gets nervous. And he does all sort of crazy things. But if you play him in the open field, he's very skillful. He can make a pass. He can go by a man. He just hasn't learned how to finish.
So let's move on to my surprise. Oh, Andy, did you get to say on that one?
Yeah, well, I just had a thing. But if you actually look at that game, Everton should have been out of sight. They should have been 5 or 6 ahead. But they didn't kill the game off, and Fulham got back into it, and they missed the most horrendous penalty miss. Did you? I don't know if you saw it. The most horrendous penalty miss Fulham ever had. The guy slipped as he tried to take it.
No, that's not the worst. No,
Yeah.
The week before was worse.
Oh, what's his name? Yeah.
No, that was not the worst. The week before, the Lookman chip. That is the worst penalty ever.
Well, they've missed their last 3 penalties, and it's cost them 4 points, which down there is going to be a big problem for them. But
4 points.
They had a really good go in the second half, Fulham. To be fair, I felt a bit sorry for them, but Everton was in total control in the first half.
Yeah, sentiment said Calvin Lewandowski would flop at Arsenal like any other So sentiment's raising a good point that he has no creativity. What happens when everything else around him falls flat? Because as Ashik pointed out, Iwobi had a great run for the first goal.
We can't mention Ozil, otherwise Bertram will have a heart attack.
Yeah,
no, we're not mentioning that.
Yeah.
Every time we mention Ozil, Bertram lays an egg.
Bring it back, man. Bring back Meza.
We'll have to see what happens.
Meza is doing well on social media. Leave him where he is. He's doing a really good job
his social media. Those clips he keeps playing with him dominating games. Keep it going, Meza. Keep it going, Meza.
Yes, man.
No, I'm telling you, Tony, when we don't have him, there's a cry out for him. And when we do have him and he doesn't produce, there's a lot of moaning. So you can't win with Mesut.
Nah, put him in. It won't make no difference now. If you put him in now, if people still just put him in.
Listen, sentiment. Iwobi did well at Arsenal. That's why he got all those starts. But I think that we have to look at Reece Nelson. Watch what Reece Nelson does. Watch what your boy does, Reece Nelson, and let's talk about this on Sunday when we do the live stream against Wolves. Let's see if Reece Nelson gets on the pitch. Yeah, it happened with Willock, and Arteta has to keep changing it, but we'll get to that when we come to it. Guys, next game. My team of the season. I hope you're listening, Luke. I hope you're listening, Ian. My team of the season, West Ham, got the job done, guys.
Yeah, Sheffield United. I said a few weeks back, Sheffield United are going to struggle.
They're going to get relegated, aren't they?
Yeah, they've got scoring goals is going to be the biggest issue, and if you're not scoring, you got to keep goals out, and they ain't doing either. They're going to struggle. Sheffield United.
Yeah,
they've been found out from last
Goldrick. They've got. They haven't got a lot, and he's a midfielder. He's not even a striker. No, they don't have 4 goals in 9 games, and it's just getting worse for them.
Yeah, last season, and the thing is, last season they had sort of a strategy. Last season, this season,
it's called their fans.
That might be part of it. But this season, it's not going to plan, and I don't know where he's going to get his points from. Seriously, I don't know. You might get them maybe from Burnley, Fulham. One of those, a couple of those teams, but they're going to struggle. Can't see anything from Sheffield United.
Well, the Liverpool savior is not working out too well so far, so that doesn't help them.
I don't know why he spent that money on, and why didn't he get a proven goal scorer? Why go for?
I just don't understand. Burnley's a mirror image of this team. Both teams have played 9. Both teams have only scored 4 goals. But Burnley has 5 points, and Sheffield United has none. Has 1. Yeah. But I think they're both going at the same trajectory. Why? Because all the other teams in the summer, because remember, these games are really condensed now. They're coming thick and fast because of COVID. Everyone, the season started late, and because of that, where our games are very condensed. and I think they're going to struggle. I said before in the summer, those who didn't really upgrade their 25-man roster are really going to struggle, and those teams didn't do it, and they're going to struggle. You know, Wolverhampton, not to a point, because they did go out there and spend a bit of money. In fact, they spent quite a bit of money, but they rotate their players really well, whereas these teams don't. They seem to have a first 11 which they're stuck on, and they don't really have much quality on the bench, and there you go.
But don't forget, if you talk about Wolves, they've got proven goal scorer, and they've got midfield scorer. Yeah, you got proven goal scorer. Sheffield United, why they went and got, as I said again, why they went and got Brewster, why they didn't go down to maybe the Championship and get a really good striker from there, like Ollie Watkins. Where did he go? He's gone to
Villa.
Yeah.
Why didn't it go down and get someone from one of the guys from Brentford or one of those teams, someone who can score goals? Yeah, getting Brewster was a weird one.
Yeah,
20 million.
Man like Bamford can't listen. I'm going to put the sticking on Bamford because man did everything he could not to score against Arsenal. But listen, that's the one coming up right now. Arsenal have a draw. I went for a 2-1 Leeds win. When I said that, Andy was laughing. Andy nearly fell off his chair. Andy, what did you think of this one?
I said I thought Leeds would win this, and quite frankly, they should have done. They hit the woodwork 3 times, and you were down to. But Arsenal defended very well with 10 men. But Leeds did have a lot of chances, and they should have put at least one of them away. But it was one of them games. I just think that Arsenal, I don't know. It's almost like Arsenal played better with 10 men than they did with 11. It was a bit of a strange game, but. And
do you know why that is, mate? It's because of urgency and desire. Me and Bertram talk about this every week. The forwards, first of all, they're not creative, which Bertram has alluded to many times. But then they're not working hard enough. Sometimes at football, when it's not going for you, it's all about your heart. And it's all about, I need to make it happen. We saw what urgency and desire looked like last night when Pepe was on the field. When you know it's your time and you got to produce, you will run until you bleed. You will run for that badge until when the final whistle goes, your tongue is hanging out of you. That's not happening with any of these players right now. They're just not working hard enough.
Yeah, we need Marino.
No, we need to be on all or nothing. That's what.
Marino plays no fools. If you look at Dele Alli is a perfect example, or Pogba when he went to Man U. He may have gotten fired from Man U, but at least the stars. If you're not producing, you're gonna sit beside him, or not change at all. That's what. Look, we have been atrocious offensively. Like, I think what happened in the Leeds game was Leeds started playing higher. That's how Saka got behind them. The Leeds leaked goals, but against us, they didn't feel any pressure at all. We weren't pressuring them at all. They just, as I said the week before when I said we're concerned about a championship team coming up, it played out exactly that way because we were awful and they were very good.
Yeah.
See,
the thing is,
go on, Tony.
With Arsenal, I don't understand why the guys ain't playing with no heart and no desire. What is it? Is it coach? Don't know, believe in his system? What makes a player not play with everything they got?
I think my personal, and this is talking to James B and a few of the other football writers and a couple of the agents. The consensus is that, and I talked about it with Ancelotti and Arteta, 2 coaches started at the same time, taking their teams 2 different directions. I think Arteta is focused on the thing that Emery and Wenger and Ljungberg could not do, and that is the defense. This team, believe it or not, is one of the better teams statistically in the league at defending. But it's cost them. And it's cost them because they're not getting the production. What he wants the team to do, especially in the midfield, especially at the back, is very counterproductive to creativity. But on top of that, it would need, because you're playing that way, we would need a front three like Spurs or like Man United, or, well, not Man United, but Man United's front three outscored Liverpool's last season, so you've got to put Man United in the mix. But then Liverpool as well, where you don't really need help from the midfield. The forward players are creative enough to produce their own chances. And it's funny, when we looked at the Leeds game, when we were doing live commentary, me and Bertram was like, you know, when you look at Pepe can create his own goals.
Yeah.
He can go inside, outside, left foot, right foot. He can get the worldie. He can create his own goals. Aubameyang can't do that.
But Aubameyang, when I received Aubameyang in Germany, he was doing that all the time. What's happened?
Look who he had Kagawa, he had Mkhitaryan, he had all these, he had all these creative players around him that was making it happen. He was just the guy who got on the end of it. You know.
So the team's offensively is dysfunctional, very dysfunctional. So think about the team. Aubameyang is a great goal scorer, but he's not a great footballer. He can't beat a man to save his life. He can't make a pass to save his life. He plays defense when he feels like it, and he doesn't hold the ball up well. Think about all those 5 attributes for a forward. Take the defense out, because some forwards don't play defense. The other 4 attributes which you need to have, you only have one of those, which is the exception of that. But if you can't supply that chain continuously, you don't put the ball in the net, he cannot create his own goal. Lacazette. I like Lacazette, but I think he should move on. He holds the ball up well, but he can't beat a man. He can't run behind, and he's not putting his chances away, right? We have Saka, who is probably our best player today next to Gabriel. But Saka doesn't score goals. He scores a goal here and there, but he's not a goal scorer. Think about the team, right? So on the wing, we have Pepe, who doesn't have the confidence he needs to have. Our best offensive player, holistically, but loses the ball too much. In one Europa League game I was talking about with Apollo, he lost the ball 15 times in the first half against a pub team. 15 times against a pub team. Now, someone may say, well, but he scored. When you give a Premier League team 15 times to go at you, that's not a good thing.
No, but he only lost the ball 3 times last night.
Yeah, but against another same pub team. But anyway, as I was saying before, the Premier League's a different ball game. So it's a different game, and you cannot give Premier League teams chance to go at you continuously. So that's the 4 main players, and William is lost. William is still at Chelsea moaning about not getting his contract because he hasn't come and played with us. He played 1 game against Fulham, and after that, he's being beyond atrocious. Whatever that is, that terminology may use, he's been awful.
So everybody say hello to
offensive
TC.
players who we play all the time. It's just not a good look.
Everyone say what's good to TC. What's going on, Tony, man? Tony, what time?
Tony, how you doing?
Tony was supposed to be on there tonight. We've been missing Tony all week. He wasn't on the stream last night, so he's been quite busy.
Now I've been seeing Tony in other forums, I'll call it, but I won't say much, Tony.
Yeah,
yeah.
He posts up other forums. He's in all sorts of talking about all sorts of stuff.
I tried to keep up with some of his shows.
Grown up stuff he's talking about.
Very grown up stuff.
Yeah.
Even I blush.
Yeah. I'm like,
what? Tony's saying Bamford overrated. Come on, Tony, man.
I judge Bamford by how many goals he scored.
And he's scored a lot.
Well,
he's got 6 goals.
No, there you go.
He's got 6 goals. Ashek is saying 1 or 2 matches like this between keeps Leno's shares up. You know, Leno's been decent. He hasn't made 2 mistakes leading to goals this season, but Leno's a good shot stopper, always has been. I think the difference is all the other goalkeepers like De Gea and all them are making a hell of a lot of mistakes right now, and it's normalized. Bert Leno, you know, when he was the most mistake-prone goalie in the league for the last 2 seasons, this season he kind of looks normal because everybody else is making mistakes around him. So I think that's why people are saying, you know, it is what it is. But look, it's all water over the bridge. He's a good shot stopper as long as he develops his game. He's still 28, guys, remember. Most goalkeepers don't get into their prime until they're in their 30s. So as long as he keeps on improving, and then I'm all for it. Sentiment says Bamford is inconsistent. Hell yeah. That benefited us last weekend, my friend. It benefited us. Kuke saying Leeds 25 shots is the most by any side without scoring in the Premier League. So Andy, anything you want to add to that, or Tony?
Yeah, it was interesting what you were saying. Bertram was saying about the players you can rely on and things, and you were talking about Saka being great. You got to remember how old Saka is. Still very, very young. What is he? 18, 19?
Just turned 19.
Yeah. So I mean, he's a young boy, and your best players that you are really relying on, are actually very young. Gabriel, Saka, these are actually your best players. What Arsenal are missing, in my opinion, are leaders, and you would normally expect that to come from your 27, 28, 30-year-old players like Aubameyang, Ozil, but they're not doing it. So
Bertrand, can you hear what he's saying? I've been telling you that for the last month.
But think about my players he's talking about where Laka makes 180, Ababe makes between 250 and 350, Lazy makes 350, William makes 220, whatever the numbers are. Yeah. We're spending about £1 million a week on dead weights.
Yeah. Agreed.
Every time I talk about Arsenal, I always have to seem to come back to Arteta. I have to look at him with this. I have to, because if you put your team out there and you see players are not putting it in and you're allowing that, then all right, you could say that you haven't got any other players to put in, but I've got to look at him as well, man. I have to.
And that is why over the last 7 days, a lot of pundits and YouTubers, including myself, have come down on Arteta, and we're starting to ask the questions. Don't get me wrong. I am not in any way, shape, or form an Arteta out.
Yeah, no.
That is not me. I am hitting it for the long haul. I just had a conversation with Bertrand today saying him and Edu have a 3-year plan, and we have to. This is a work in progress. We got to sit through it. And there's a lot of ugly stuff to do. We're not the same team that Emery took over. That was a very good team he took over. Had a lot of good players in there. And we could talk about the likes of Mkhitaryan and Ramsey and all these other players. But this is not that team. Yeah, this is nowhere near that team that he took.
Apollo, this is supposed to be a better team. Guys, this is what we're missing.
No. You don't. No. How can you be a better team when you are in a transition?
Guys.
You've got rid of 21
Wait. No. Here's the point.
Months.
No, it's a better team he took over. So here's why it's a better team. No. So my defense he got money to invest in his defense. He bought Partey and bought Gabriel.
Yeah, he bought a spine.
Wait. Tierney came in late last year. Tierney didn't play last year. So he has a better defense. He has a better ring he got over. His forwards are the highest paid players are supposed to be better. So if you have a better midfield, you have a better defense, and those forwards are still here, he has a better team. This concept that Arteta is the Messiah, which everybody been preaching in Arsenal. I watch FTV and they talk about how great he is. He's better than Man U manager. He's as good as. And I'm sitting here thinking he won an FA Cup. It's a knockout competition. Wigan won an FA Cup for Christ's sake, and where are they? In League 4, whatever it is.
That is unfair. You're playing down the fact that they,
sustainability is an imperative to win the Premier League.
Yeah,
I must admit, Apollo. I'm not giving Arteta any blighs. I'm not, because for me, the team he's got there and the players. For me, he I'm not sure if he's instilling discipline. I'm not sure what he's doing, but I can't give him a blight, because some of the stuff I see, I've got to look at it and think sometimes, or some of the way you're playing, some of the when he puts out his first 11, you look at it and think, why is he? Has he done? I don't know. Is he overthinking it?
Maybe,
but he's batting 44%.
One thing that is consistent is we have to give him time.
Yes, but I'm saying I'm not giving him a blight.
Oh yeah, and me neither. But I understand the process.
As a Spurs fan,
you love it.
He's drinking champagne. hey, Andy, hey.
Yeah. As a Spurs fan, this is hilarious.
Yeah.
But if I was you, I would stick with Arteta, because I think Arteta does know what he's doing. I'm not saying the Messiah, that's for other people to decide, but I do think he knows what he's doing. The fact that you've got at least probably as good a defence as anyone in the league at the moment this season. I know we've got the best defence, but that could change on Sunday. There's only about, I think, 1 goal in it, so I don't think there's a lot in it between 3 or 4 teams of the best defence. But that Arteta is building, and historically, the way you build a great side is to start from the back.
Absolutely.
So if he's doing that, then he's making the right start. But I think the problem you've got is you're lacking creativity in the middle of the park. And weirdly, that's where Ozil is brilliant. The problem you've got is when Ozil plays, he tends to play one great game in 4 or 5. So that doesn't really help you very much, because you need somebody that's going to give you a 7 or 8 out of 10 every week, not someone that's going to give you a 10 out of 10 one week and 3 out of 10 for the next 4 weeks. That doesn't really help you very much.
So Andy, I have one. There's one thing about what you just said which I don't agree with. Actually, I don't say I don't agree with, but I think it needs to be managed a little bit. Which is this: the concept that creativity is just in the middle of the park, to me, is a flawed concept. So, I'll give you an example. The only creative player I think you have in your team in the middle of the park is Ndombele. Liverpool has none.
Lascelles,
but he doesn't play as much sometimes. He doesn't play as much as Marino, right? Mm-hmm. Liverpool doesn't have any.
Well, we just
I don't know. Liverpool's middle of the park is creative. Who is creative?
Firmino is their creative.
But he's playing a 10-9 pseudo role, right?
Yeah,
so he's a forward. He's center forward.
Yeah, he drops
and that's what Kane's doing for Spurs now.
Yeah, he drops in.
We don't have creativity up front, which the people are missing. We keep saying we don't have creativity. Son is a creative player. Kane is a creative player. Bale is a creative player. Moura is creative. I'm just naming players on your forward line. Forget about Liverpool because they're all creative, including Jota. Think about Manu, Marshall, Rashford. Who do we have that's creative?
You know, this is an argument that Bertram has been talking about for quite a while, and I like to say and because I know him so well, he's not wrong. But the one thing we do know is that successful teams do have creative midfielders, and just 3 years ago, we could talk about Giroud, scoring 16 goals as a striker. But then Sanchez had 31 goals. Walcott had 19 goals. Ozil had 12 goals. That is goals not coming from your main top man. That is goals coming from around. And oh, by the way, and Ramsey had 10 goals as well. So when you look at that, right now, you're having this discussion and you're and putting your point home, which you have a valid point. Our front strikers are not creative. But what makes it worse is our midfielders aren't. And that is the reason why people are talking about, when we see Willock had 5-6 goals last season.
So what did you get?
But the point is, guys, is that all the pundits, everyone is saying, because we don't have a 10 like an Ozil, that's why we're not scoring goals. When we scored 51 goals last season, somewhere in that range. Ozil played half the games, didn't come back after the restart. We still didn't score goals.
Yeah.
Last season, we scored just half the goals City scored, half the goal Liverpool scored. In the entire 38 games, we scored 51, 52 goals. That's ridiculous. With Ozil playing half those games.
It was, but he was out for a while. When he came back, I mean, he played really well at Burnley, brilliant at West Ham, and Newcastle when we won 4-0. When we started integrating him, we started scoring goals. He was man of the match, by the way, and he did score in that game. He didn't need to. He was man of the match anyway because everything was going through him. It's just that we've reached the point now where Arsenal are cutting off their nose to spite their face because they're the ones that have made the decision to do this. And regardless, and I agree with you, in most of the big games, he don't turn up. But he turns up in the other games, and we need him for the other games. You don't have to play him against the top teams. You can play him against the Brightons, the West Hams, or whatever. Right now, we're just capitulating from all over the field. Tony's saying Xhaka pointless. Sentiment saying Liverpool's creativity came from the wing backs. Yeah, Robinson.
That too.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And the energetic press from the front line initiated by King Mane. Yep, totally agree.
The interchange between Mane and Firmino and Salah is ridiculous. That interchange, and now Jota.
Don't forget Jota.
Yeah, and Jota in that mix. Yeah.
Jota's the real deal. Ceballos, Tony, I've given up on Ceballos. I'm dead. I'm done with him. I'm done with Ceballos. I'm done with Ceballos. But that's it for Arsenal, guys. Now let's move on to Tony first, and get Liverpool out of the way. Tony,
can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, bro.
I can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you. Tony, you might give me some stick. I went for a 2-2 draw last week, and you absolutely blew them out of the water. What happened?
But you know what? When I saw the fixture, obviously because all the injuries we had, I thought we're playing at home, and obviously we've been great for the last couple of years. And I thought it would be a tight game. I thought we might snatch it 2-1, but we were excellent. Leicester weren't as good as I thought they were going to be. They disappointed me a bit, I must say.
You remember, they're still nursing injuries, but this was a depleted Liverpool side.
Yeah. But the thing for me with any team, if you got people who can put the ball in the net, you'll have a chance in every game. If you can do that, and we've got now with Jota, who's been arguably the purchase of the season so far. Arguably, we've got another man to add to our firepower now. So, and we look good even defensively. Even in defence and everything else. I know they had a couple of chances, but without our top guys in defence and in midfield, we look quite comfortable against Leicester. It surprised me, I must admit. When I watched it and looked at the score, I thought, you know what? Yeah, that's kudos to us, and that's without us. That's with us missing players. Klopp has a system, and the good thing about Klopp, which Bertrand always talks about, he's got a system, and he gets players to fit into his system. You don't see Klopp doing something you think to himself, what the hell is he? What's he trying to do here? He gets the right players in. I must admit, when he went and got Jota, I looked at that and I thought, it was a last minute one. It was like on the last 2 days, you heard Jota. I was like, Jota, I was seeing him. He's all right, but I'm not sure. But look what he's gone in there and he's just blowing up.
So yeah, I think Klopp is by a good distance the best manager in the league to me, by a good distance. I don't rate Pep as much as some other people rate Pep. I think he's very, very good strategically, but poor game manager. I do think what Klopp has done Klopp is the best evaluator of talent. So if you look at Liverpool front four, for example, he got Firmino, who was there when what's his name was there, the Leicester coach was there, but he bought Mane when a lot of people weren't ready about Mane. He bought Salah, who failed at Chelsea. He bought Jota, who we all didn't think was that great, but a good player. No. And he fit all those things together, and they work really well. In fact, people are saying, should Jota play with Firmino? And he's like, you guys don't know what you're talking about. You're missing the big picture. He's played Jota sometime with a 4, right? He's playing the 4 of them together. They all goal scorers. And then what he has is two phenomenal, whether it's Firmino and Wijnaldum playing the midfield, who are working their socks off. He has it well. And then his wing backs are awesome in terms of contributing offensively. He has a strategy. Where is his number 10 people keep talking about? He doesn't have a number 10.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we were saying losing Van Dijk has ended Liverpool's title run, but actually before the Atalanta game last night, Liverpool, I believe, they had only conceded 3 goals in their past 7 games in all competition.
Yeah, after Aston Villa beat us up.
Yeah,
we had to fix up, didn't we?
But there's one thing people are missing too. Thiago has only played 1.5 or 2 games.
Yeah.
Think about that. He made 90 passes in 1/2 in 1 game. We only seen a glimpse of him. So he's going to come back into that midfield between Firmino and Thiago, which closes down everything. Those 4 can just run wild.
Yeah.
So guys, we got the last game to cover before we shut down tonight, and it's Chelsea, Newcastle. Quite a run-of-the-mill result, if I'm honest. Nothing really stood out for me here. I thought Newcastle was going to give them a little bit more. It wasn't as big as Spurs' game. Last week I talked about Spurs and Chelsea have a chance to prove whether they're going to be title challengers. In the end, it was quite a run-of-the-mill game, guys.
Yeah, Chelsea defensively seem to be a bit more solid. And again, they've got guys up front who are dangerous. I think Newcastle were missing Callum Wilson, weren't they? I think he was missing. So Newcastle without Callum Wilson, then they might as well be Burnley. Who else is gonna? They haven't got anyone else who's a prolific scorer who's gonna score you goals. To be fair, so without Callum Wilson, they're always gonna struggle. So as long as
I think he's got a hamstring injury, so he's out for 5-6 weeks.
No, Callum. You talking about Callum?
Yeah,
he's got today.
No, sorry, Callum Wilson. Oh no,
Callum played today.
What was the score?
Oh,
I think they probably won. Did they won 1-0 or something like that? I didn't watch the end of the game. I know it was 0-0 for a long time. I think Newcastle won.
I hate Friday games. Oh, they won 2-0 because it messes up my prediction.
There's me saying they can't score.
Callum played today.
He scored as well.
He played 2 up front, actually. He played 2 up front.
Did he score? Who scored?
Callum Wilson scored and Jolinto.
Jolinto, I don't know how Jolinto is playing in the Premier League. I'm surprised he scored. He's just a big log who can't move. And
well, you want to hear the joke? You want to hear the joke? They assisted each other's goals. So each player had one goal.
They're playing off each other in the game, or trying to anyway.
Yeah.
But Palace has lost without Zaha.
The thing is, Jolinton is one of those guys where the coach picks him every week and quits him a lot, and you think, why did they pick him? They see something in him that he's a hard worker. He just can't score. He's not a striker. He's just
I'm a hard worker too. I'm not playing together. He had what 343, 343, or 344.
He scored and assisted tonight.
Yeah, but I'm saying this is third goal in about 40-something games. Yeah, he's just centre forward. I mean.
His only one last season was the winner at Spurs.
There you go. There you go. So he provides a service for the team, and if they feed off him, then Brucey will take that. But
they paid a lot of money for him too. They paid a lot of money for him.
The thing is, these were the games that Chelsea would draw last season.
Well, they've got the top boys up front now. Abrams is coming into his own now. He's looking much better now. Chelsea are potent up front. They'll score goals. They always score goals. Chelsea.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to the game this weekend with Chelsea and Spurs. That's a good game because I don't think Spurs will be as defensive. No. So that will give Chelsea some opportunities. We'll see how that works out. But that should be a very good game. Yeah,
I think another thing, Andy, is we talk about Arsenal, we talk about Spurs. But the one thing, it's nice to see Chelsea fielding 4 homegrown players as well. With all the money they've spent, that's how you do it.
Yeah, I mean, they've got Mason Mount, Tammy Abrahams, Chilwell,
James.
James. He's a cracking player. I mean, it's good to see young English talent in these sides. Spurs led the way for a long time, and now Chelsea seem to be taking on the mantle.
I tell you, I have no idea who's going to win the Premiership this season. Let me just take this banner off because we're at the end of our show now. I just want to find out, guys, is this season so far, with 25% of the season gone, changed your perception of who's actually going to win the title? I know there's no clear win at the moment, but who do you guys really like? I mean, I still think it's going to be Liverpool because look, half of Liverpool, they won it by 18 points last season when they were on their game. This year, they're not on their game, but they're still bloody better than everybody else. Tony, who's your pick of the season so far?
I still think that we are favourites. I think without Virgil van Dijk, obviously that's a big miss. But if it's just him, if we can keep everyone else fit and just try to keep our goal ratio down, I think then that we still have a good chance of winning it. I think we're strong. I think we're strong enough. I think we can score goals. We've got the right guys to score goals. So I think on our day, I think we can beat anyone. And I think it's very hard for a team to have tactics against us. Like when you had Spurs against Man City, you kind of got a way of if we do this, then we could do Man City. I think with Liverpool, it's slightly different, and our back line won't be as high as it usually is with Van Dijk. I think we'll be a bit more deeper now, and we'll be a bit more cautious. So I still think we've got the best chance of winning.
So I agree with you. I think Liverpool is still, for me, favourites to win the title. Who's been your biggest surprise, before I go to Bertram, who's been your biggest surprise of the season so far? Southampton are in 5th, Villa are in 6th.
Yes, Southampton.
Yeah.
Villa, I think, Villa's done well, but I think that Villa's going to fade away. But Southampton, I think they'll be still in and around there. Especially if they've got who's the front man again? We got from us.
Danny Ings. I think for me, I'm going to go with Villa because I'm a big, huge Martinez fan, big Grealish fan. I like Barkley. I like what they've done. I think they've built the team around Grealish, and in order for you to take a team that was nearly relegated to last game of the season, fighting to stay in the Premiership, and here they are in a Europa place. in the Premiership right now. And look, still trying to figure it out, like a lot of other teams. Bertram, who's your tip for the title so far, and who's your biggest surprise?
I actually don't have a tip. I think between Chelsea, Tottenham, Man City, what is still in it, they haven't played a game less, and Liverpool, I think any one of those four at this point in time look like they can win the league. Man City doesn't look like it, but I think they will come into their own eventually when they get all their players back. But I think Chelsea is dangerous because we are forgetting that Pulisic has been out. I think Pulisic is a very dangerous player. Ziyech didn't play much early part of the season, and Ziyech left foot is a weapon. You know, they have a really very, very good front line, and more importantly, Kante is back to his best, right? And Silva is now stabilizing the defense. They have a goalkeeper who's not letting in goals. So they have a balanced team, and I'm sure Lampard's statue will go up because everybody keeps knocking him. Because players makes teams most times, not managers, frankly. Managers do a lot, but it's what do you have quality players? I think they'll do well. I still think Tottenham has the most balanced team in the league. Just typical Jose when he gets his way, and he's been supported by the owner and the chief executive. I think Tottenham, when I watched them play yesterday, frankly, they had 10 players on the team. Most of those were in the first team last year. And their front line is devastating when they want to be. Now, granted, I was surprised about how they played against City, which is not surprised about Mourinho's tactics, but just that they didn't have more ball possession didn't make sense to me, given the quality they have in the field. That should be a concern for them, actually, regardless of how well they did. 2-0 didn't represent to me how the game was played, but they won. And I do think Liverpool front line with Jota adding to the mix is just devastating.
Yeah,
I mean, those four players interchange really well. He slotted in seamlessly. They have a very good team. And look, at the end of the day, given the quality that we have in the Premier League, as I've said at the outset of the season, which is it's going to be the best season ever, with the view that fans are not there, which takes away a lot from it. Because the question is, would these results be the same if we had fans in the stand? I don't think a lot of them would be the same because you're not even playing away from home anymore. It's almost like you go to Spurs and you're playing at home, because you don't have that 11, 12 man there to make you feel uncomfortable in a very hostile environment.
But it's hurting Burnley. I mean, the Toon Army, 55,000. Newcastle, they've lost 5 of the last 7 home games. That's ridiculous. I don't think I've even heard that happening from Newcastle before. I mean, Chelsea have had, 6 clean sheets in the last 7 games. Chelsea are looking horribly, quietly devastating. But I think for who's your biggest surprise, Bertram?
I'm going to say Southampton. I think Villa has been somewhat inconsistent. They look great early. They're losing here and there. Southampton has been consistent all season, especially given that Southampton doesn't have a lot of name players, right? You have Danny Ings, who we all know, but he didn't do as well as Liverpool, even though he was injured. You have people like Theo coming in, making a contribution, didn't do well at Everton. And you have the kid Adams playing up front, who I think is a very, very good player. They have some solid midfielders in Ward-Prowse and Romeo. So they do have a balanced team. And if they don't get injuries, I think they probably will fall off somewhat. But they'll be there in the top 6, top 8, actually, for much of the season. Especially since they got 9 from Leicester last year, where we thought the Magic were going to be fired and they're totally, challenged. They've done well.
So, Andy, who's your pick of so far? 25% of the season gone. Who's your pick of the title so far? You're going to say Spurs, aren't you?
Not particularly. I'm obviously really happy as a Spurs fan that we're top of the league, and I think we're doing well. I mean, I loved Spurs under Pochettino because we played a brand of football that I sort of associate with and enjoy watching. And that's why we all loved Poch at Spurs, because he played what we consider to be like the Tottenham way. Mourinho doesn't. It's quite a difficult watch for a lot of Spurs fans to watch us play the way we are with Mourinho. But pretty much all of us will take it if it brings us silverware, because we're sick of getting the Spursy, also rans, nearly men. We're sick of that tag. So the reason Mourinho's been brought in is to win silverware and to placate Spurs fans who are getting frustrated at all the teasing we get from everybody else, which is fair play because it's banter and that's what happens in in football, and you got to take it. But we were fantastic under Pochettino, but we won nothing.
Yeah.
Now, I love watching Spurs under Pochettino. It's certainly the team from 15 to 17, those 2 years where we ran Leicester and Chelsea close, but no cigar. Those 2 years, we got the most points, the most goals, conceded the least goals, but we didn't win the title in either season. If there was a title awarded for 2 seasons, we would have got it, but we didn't.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the way it is. The problem now, we've got Mourinho, who is making us much more difficult to beat. We're better defensively, but also he's got an extra percentage at a lot of the players. You look at that team that played last night, they're in effect now our second string that played last night. And every single one of them was hungry because now they see the directory and the trajectory that the club is going in. Everyone wants to put a shift in because they want to get into that first team. I think there's been a period of time for about the last year under Poch, the first few months under Mourinho, where players were like, I think a few players didn't really care whether they played or not because they didn't think we were going to win anything. Yeah. And so they wanted to play, but if they didn't, it wasn't the end of the world. Now everybody there wants to be in the side. So that's making a difference to Spurs. You're getting extra out of the players. But we're not playing a brand of football that I personally enjoy watching. It's defensive, it's negative, but you play on the counter-attack and it can be very successful.
Of course, suck them in.
Because we've got some fantastic world-class players in the attacking positions, we are going to look decent. But, I mean, I think Chelsea have got a fantastic squad. They've got some very exciting players in the likes of Werner, Pulisic, I love, Ziyech, I love. They've got some really, really nice creative players in that team. So I think there's someone to watch out. I'm also bringing in the likes of Silva at the back and Mendy in goal. They've strengthened in all the areas of the pitch, and I think they're very strong. Liverpool, if you look at it, they're level with us. We're only ahead of Liverpool on goal difference. Everyone's saying what a brilliant season we've had and what a rubbish season Liverpool have had.
Exactly.
But they're joint top. That tells you everything you need to know about how strong Liverpool are with all their injuries. They could be topped by, Sunday night. They could be top of the league.
Yeah.
So
when are you playing Liverpool?
16th of December.
I can't wait for that. That's going to be.
That's at Anfield as well.
Yeah,
but it's on Amazon Prime. I think it's on Amazon Prime. It's not on Sky or BT.
It's at Anfield. It's at Anfield, so that's all right.
Yeah, it's at Anfield.
Hey, Bertrand, we might have to live stream that one and invite these two. That'll be fun. That'll be fun. Oh, and Andy, who's your surprise team so far of the season?
Well, I think the team that have probably surprised most people are Southampton. It's the same as what everyone else has said. But if you actually look at it, since post-lockdown, they were great at the end of last season as well. They had a very good finish to last season, and they've started this season very well. Hasenhüttl is a very experienced coach. Did a wonderful job out in Germany with 2 or 3 sides out there, and now he's come to Southampton, and he's doing a very good job at Southampton. He's clearly a good man-manager and a good coach, and so I think I think Southampton will finish mid-table, I guess.
Well, I'm looking at them now. We've got the table up here. They're in 5th place.
They're
5th. Yeah. I mean, right now, they look at that. I mean, they've scored 17 goals. My God, 17 goals. That sounds nice, doesn't it, Bertram?
The thing with Southampton is if they get 1 or 2 injuries. I mean, they've obviously got Ings out at the moment. If he comes back in 2 or 3 weeks, they'll probably be all right. If he's out for any length of time, they're going to have a problem. Yes, but if they were to lose, say, Ward-Prowse or someone like that to injury, it would be interesting to see what they would do if they were to lose 1 or 2 key individuals, because they don't have the strength and depth that other sides have got.
Yeah,
Andy raised an interesting point.
Other than the top sort of 6 teams. Anyone who loses their front players will suffer. Southampton,
except
Villa.
well, we're not top 6, but we won't matter who we lose up front. It's probably a good thing if we lose somebody up front.
It doesn't matter if we lose a Aubameyang, won't make no difference.
I do want to point out to you lot though that Villa has a game in hand.
Yeah, they do.
I think they'll fall away, Villa.
But that game in hand is against Manchester City.
Yeah, I'd be worried if I was City.
So Andy raised a good point. Andy mentioned that they may not like Jose's brand of football, but they're winning. Our brand of football is no different from Spurs, but we're not winning.
Yeah.
I'm not enjoying the football, and I'm not enjoying the results either.
Yeah, look, I'm a fan, and win, lose or draw, I love my team. I'll cheer them on, and I always believe that the fans, the golden word support means to support your team, and that's one of the things that drives me nuts about some Arsenal fans I see, especially online, where they're just absolutely putting a gun to their head, and it's just like, guys, calm down. I mean, this is why I say Arsenal fans are privileged fans, because of the amount of success they've had under Wenger, 17 trophies in 22 years. And then, I support teams like the Jazz who have never won a title. Yeah. My Skins last won a Super Bowl in 92. Yeah. The African Guna weren't even born at that time. So when you think about this, I see these Arsenal fans and they talk about how, it's all going. You don't know failure. You ain't walked my shoes. You don't know what it's like to support a team that has never won a title ever.
Apollo, we don't want to know failure, Apollo. We don't. Leave that to Spurs. Let Spurs control the failure thing. Don't win trophies. We like that. We don't want to be in that situation. Okay, we love when Spurs don't win, but we have made it top 4 in the last 4 years. We don't know what kid is 8 years old watching us, now 12. I haven't seen us in the Champions League.
Yeah.
By the way, on the subject of Arsenal fan TV, from a Spurs fan to Arsenal fans, I was sorry to hear that you lost one of your contributors, I think, on Arsenal fan TV.
Yeah, Heavy D.
Sorry to hear that, guys.
Yeah, he's a good lad. He's a good lad as well.
Family.
Yeah, he's a good lad. He's left a couple of kids
Storage Wars. I was watching the Storage Wars. He's funny on there.
Yeah, he's a great personality.
Heavy D. Yeah.
Real shame, man. It's a real shame. I feel for the 2 kids, and I hope the missus and everybody is doing that. And listen to Tony here. Tony, that's what I'm talking about. Light up the Skins, baby. Light up.
So just for all our viewers, to realize, the Skins are 4 and 7, I think it is. Yeah. And repeat, Apollo is cheering a team that's batting 33%. That's amazing.
But they're top of the NFC. They're top of the NFC least.
Yeah, you tell him again, because if we win the division, we're going to have a banner that says NFC East champions.
They've only won 4 of 11.
NFC least.
That banner doesn't have your record on there. It has you as winners and champions. Yeah, let's remember that.
What are we all talking about?
American football.
Hey, listen. Okay. Tony is actually saying he made suits for Heavy D as well. Yeah. Oh man, great shame. All right, guys, listen. That's it from us this week. You guys can join us on Sunday. We're going to be here live, covering live match commentary on the Arsenal Wolves game, and then we'll be talking about the results of this week's games back here next Friday, where we have our guests back on. I'm looking forward to. I'm actually thinking now whether we should live stream that Liverpool Spurs game. That'll be a lot of fun. It would be interesting to see if Tony and Andy turn up on that live stream.
I'll be sitting there biting my fingernails.
Oh man. Hey, could you imagine Bertram having a stream a minute ahead of everybody else, and he goes, "Oh no!" What?
I just want to hear Bertram say, "Jota."
Oh,
right, guys,
that should be fun. That'd be fun, actually.
Yeah.
You have a great weekend. Thank you to everybody in the panel, and thanks everyone in the chat room. Love your participation as always, and have a great weekend, guys. Peace out.
Yes, mate.
Nice one.